Welcome to the Dynasty Pulse weekend warm-up for Week 10. It's Thursday, November 7th, and you are watching the single most important fantasy football information podcast on the planet. You're watching on Fantasy Football Plus and on the Undroppables. I am bigz. I got Grindberg here. Schultzy's here too. He likes turtles. And we got a new guy. He's a legendary ball knower. You may have heard of him. His name is Chev. He co-hosts Player Profiler Today over on the Player Profiler News Network with me on Fridays. Be sure to watch that live stream because it's fun as hell. And we're feeling them out. We're breaking them in, seeing how it goes, and seeing if we can make this a foursome or even a fivesome because everybody loves a fantasy orgy. So with that, let's go to Grindberg and the news.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into Week 10. It's Week 10 in the freaking NFL season already, and yeah, man, shit's going down. A lot of firings happening this week. We had some injury news.
What?
Well, you know,
somebody got fired.
You did.
Yeah,
I got fired. No.
Yeah, we could talk about a lot of different things getting fired, but let's talk about injuries right now. And AJ Brown dealing with a contusion, possibly affecting his MCL, leaning towards playing in Week 10 without a major dip in performance. Obviously, you know, something that we got to keep an eye out. He practiced today, so looking good for AJ Brown against the hapless Dallas Cowboys. You know, and they're going to be without Dak Prescott for the foreseeable future here. CeeDee Lamb shares taking a dip. Chev, I'm going to go to you here because you're the newbie. What is your initial thoughts about CeeDee Lamb and his overall, prospects for the rest of the season now if Dak Prescott is done?
Well, fortunately, we can lean on a situation that we've had before. We look at what Ja'Marr Chase was like with Jake Browning last year, and that's kind of where my thoughts immediately go. Oh, yeah. You got the Ja'Marr Chase, jersey in the background. But, I find myself kind of leaning there. It's more like mid to high-end wide receiver 2 with potential splash weeks. I mean, they have to pepper him with targets. He's the only thing besides, like, volume Rico Dowdle that works in that offense. So it's kind of hard for me to say, oh, well, yeah, he's going to be a nothing burger. But, I mean, Tyreek Hill's been a nothing burger so far this year, so anything is possible.
So what type of trades are you entertaining right now for CeeDee Lamb? Like, would like top 24 guy right now? Like, what if I say Darnell Mooney to you? Are you like, is Darnell Mooney and CeeDee Lamb in the same conversation right now? Like, honestly, they might be.
I mean, in reality, yes. But if you went to the CeeDee Lamb owner and said, hey, I'll give you Darnell Mooney, they would then respond either in real time or via text message with a lot of curse words and emojis or whatever, whatever your flavor is. But I don't think it would be a very kind response. That's actually a good thought exercise, man. I think that, I mean, you should be able to do, like, would you rather have, would you give him up for Debo straight up?
Yeah, right now for sure.
Not
without Ayuk there, I would do that with the opportunity that we don't even. No, not in Dynasty. That we're talking redraft.
This is a Dynasty show, Mike.
Redraft Pulse.
Get your head out of the gutter.
We're talking about an injury right now in the news. So that is what we're talking about, and that was the question posed. All right, like
that's fair.
That's what this is a huge topic right now as far as what CeeDee Lamb owners are doing with him. Like Dynasty, he's got that, he's got that installation, but it's a pretty hot topic right now as far as what CeeDee Lamb is worth in redraft right now.
I still wouldn't trade him away for Debo.
You wouldn't?
No.
Really?
I'm not a Debo guy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not a Debo guy at what he costs most of the time, but like, there's no Ayuk, there's no like.
I like Cooper Rush and CeeDee Lamb connecting more than I like Debo.
I'm on you, Chev's side here. Schultzy, weigh in. You're on the top bunk here. So are you with bigz or what?
Oh man, we got bunk beds. There's so much room for activities. So nice.
I'm about to do some karate in the garage with CD Lamb.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's just overwhelming. I'm just, my head.
If there's anything you can count on from me, it's unhinged, data-driven bullshit. So that's what I'm bringing.
Honestly, my gut tells me CD just because I love CD so much, and the talent is just stupid. And they know how to scheme him. Like, I don't care who's playing quarterback. This is an offense we've watched give this guy 14, 15, 17 targets in a game. So fire me up, CD. I don't care. And then their defense sucks. So, give me CD still.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put some names out here then. George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb.
Wow. All right. So we just jumped straight to my favorite player. Okay. Did you rig this, bigz?
No.
Did you do this?
This is a Grindberg special, okay? Welcome to the Pulse there, Chev. You're
well, you got my pulse going.
Yeah, man. Let's go.
That's for damn sure. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're just gonna get straight to it. All right. Okay. Yeah. Because I am I've counted up all of George Pickens' points that have been negated by penalty or otherwise ridiculous rule. I would send CeeDee Lamb for George Pickens in redraft.
Okay. See, I mean, that's what we're doing right now. Okay, because we're talking about a guy that and Mike Williams might come into this lineup, and they're very similar wide receivers if you think about it. So now Russell Wilson's got two guys he could just huck the ball up to and just pray ball it. They're giving him the weapons he needs. I like that move for the Steelers, and it might actually open things up for George Pickens to be even more prolific.
You could say that George Pickens' stock right now is unlimited. I just want to jump in here real quick. I have a stat straight hot off the internet. CeeDee Lamb in weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of 2022 when Cooper Rush filled in for Dak Prescott. 7 catches, 75 yards, 8 catches, 87 yards and a touchdown, 6 catches, 97 yards and a touchdown, 5 catches, 53 yards, and 5 catches, 68 yards. That's still a better floor than Deebo Samuel.
Give me those target numbers in those games.
Yeah, but they have a way better offense then. Like they and a better defense. Like their team sucks right now. They don't
unhinged, data-driven bullshit.
They have no run game right now. To like Rico Dowdle is their second best option right now.
Right.
And that is like. That's
I'd say Jake
to
Ferguson, but
because their run defense is shit too. So now teams are going to just be up on Dallas Cowboys and run it. So they're not going to have a whole lot of time to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb.
That sounds like great game script for CD to me.
Like when teams are running the clock down, they're not going to have as much possession. Yeah, he's going to get his targets, but his touchdown upside is going to be lower. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of variables within that situation that makes me wonder, like a Deebo Samuel, which is going to be in a lot more scoring situations.
So let me hit you with this. Why is Brian Thomas like pedal to the metal, hammer down play for you the rest of the season? Then it's the same situation.
Wait,
Mac Jones sucks
with Trevor Lawrence doing whatever.
It's a little bit different because like I'm seeing it as CeeDee Lamb. I'm taking Deebo Samuel over Brian Thomas Jr. rest of the season.
Yes. Agreed.
I am. I mean, they're the same situation. So I'm taking Deebo in that.
Yeah. I don't know. We just talked on another show. You said fire up Brian Thomas. He's going to get all the targets rest of the year. He's going to get smashed. Start Brian Thomas all the way.
I see what he's saying, Schultzy. I see what he's saying. He's saying like versus Deebo, he'd take Deebo in a trade if Trevor Lawrence gets surgery and is out. I understand. I'm still not doing Deebo. I have zero faith in Deebo. Yeah, there is going to be a game where he like yaks 120 yards and a touchdown or two, but he's going to disappear. He's going to get hurt. I have zero faith. I have less than zero faith Good movie, by the way. I have less than zero faith in Deebo Samuel.
How many people can get 25 air yards and give you 120 receiving yards?
Deebo.
Yes. I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right. We spent a lot of time on CeeDee Lamb. I love it. Let's move on to the actual show sheet now because there's less news to talk about.
Oh, that wasn't even planned?
No, that was not planned. Let's skip our, injury news. Let's skip like coaching shit. Let's get into our stock up, stock down, and get into our stocks, our start and sits of the week, because that's where the gravy's at, and we can get into some more intense conversation. Unless Biggs, do you want a good 5 minutes to talk about the Raiders and
No,
of course he doesn't.
Because if you were, you would have listened to Raiders Unrivaled on Uncovered last night and would have got the juice on it, right?
That's true. And also next Tuesday. So yeah, you'd be watching right here on the Undroppables Network, the Raiders Uncovered show, Tuesday nights, 8:00 Pacific live stream with me and Raider Damas. And awesome. we told you everything that we needed to tell you about the whole Luke Getsy out, Las Vegas Ridders, and Norv and Scott Turner in the mix now. We don't need to talk about it anymore, except for the fact that Brock. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into stock up, stock down, where we're going to identify some players here that, are on their stocks are up, their stocks are down.
Before we get into Schultzy's stock up, I just want to give him an opportunity to amend it, seeing as how last night, right now, his first team carry, he fumbled the ball.
No. And I'll tell you why. Because my favorite part about this segment is we get to spin stock up and stock down however the hell we want. And today, stock up is Khalil Herbert, my friend, because he just got traded. He was trapped in the cage there in Chicago, never got used. And when he did, it's kind of like the Jaleel McLaughlin effect here. Like when the dude showed up and he was efficient, made some plays, and he's getting over to an offense here where before Zach Moss went down, like they heavily used both guys. I don't think Chase Brown's just going to be the de facto workhorse here. And I'm not saying that Khalil Herbert's going to be great or anything, but the reason I'm stocking him up is because you're probably going to be able to find someone who's desperate at running back and is willing to pay something for a guy who's about to get a chance.
I did. I paid $1 on the waiver wire for him, $1, and he's in my.
Are you in Dynasty?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, we stop talking about redraft here, man.
That's $1 I might have spent on Debo.
Ooh,
wow.
That's crazy shade to Debo. You got to calm down with this 49ers hate.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I see now that you've been really restraining yourself.
Tomorrow on the fantasy forecast, Brock Purdy is one of my starts. There's no 49er hate.
No,
there is, but
he loves Brock Purdy. He just hates everybody else in the 49ers.
That's not true either. I love George Kittle. I love the guys that consistently produce. That's all.
Fair.
Debo, what is happening right now?
Chev, man.
He's got 2 seasons.
Finally, somebody that lives in the same world as me. Wow.
What? I feel like I've been living a lie on the news show. I don't know.
All right, Chev.
Real quickly, wide receiver 12, wide receiver 17, out, wide receiver 46, wide receiver 79, wide receiver 10, out, wide receiver 41. That's not anything I want to invest in. There are some spike weeks, but he's either out or wide receiver 40 or worse in more than half of his weeks. That's where the inconsistency of Debo is where I draw the line.
And with a guy like that, you need his spikes to be wide receiver 1, 2, 3, and they haven't hit that hard.
That means
I'm happy with top 10.
That means he's due. Because we know he's capable of these things.
He's due.
Well, I mean, and McCaffrey's coming back too, and that is going to open up things as well for that whole offense in general. They're going to be on the field a lot longer. They're going to have longer sustaining drives. There's going to be more opportunity here. Like I'm just like if Ayuk was still in the mix, I would be a little less optimistic.
Exactly.
But when one of those guys is not in the lineup, the others tend to thrive, and we know that from experience. I'm not discounting Jawan Jennings. I didn't say that. I'm not discounting Jawan Jennings either, because of how prolific his yards per route run has been in absence here. But they're going to need to win some games in the stretch in a division that is very tight right now. And when push comes to shove, who is their best playmaker outside of Christian McCaffrey? We know it is Deebo Samuel. Yeah, people can argue as George Kittle, but Deebo Samuel is the most versatile guy in that offense, and he's going to be utilized. And I just think that, he's got some upside here.
What a play by Matabuki right now last night.
Right now, last.
Welcome in. Right now, last night.
All right. Who's your stock down, Schultzy?
I'm doing both of mine right now. Okay. Same reason here. Kind of taking advantage of trade markets. And I think you're going to get some stock down on Brian Thomas Jr. I already hit it up a little bit. Why? I think this offense is going to struggle really hard without Trevor. The coaching staff is a mess. They're not focusing on Brian Thomas like they should. If you're on a dead season, you should be just focusing on getting creative with this guy, getting him experience, finding out what works, finding out what doesn't. He just got 4 targets against the Eagles in a game where they were down pretty big, a lot of it. I just don't trust this staff to do the right thing, period, in any facet. And so I'm not trusting them to handle Brian Thomas Jr. the right way the rest of the way, especially because they're lame duck coaches. Developing Brian Thomas is not what they're out to do the rest of the way. They're going to do whatever they can to potentially save a job, even though it's probably too late, or try and do anything to, land a job down the road. Making sure Brian Thomas is an alpha doesn't matter to them. So I think all that said, you're going to see a little bit of dip in value here, and that's the time to strike. So when the dip happens, buy this dude, because Trevor's going to come back next year with a coach that actually knows what to do, which means Trevor's got a real offensive coach for the first time who's going to know how to use him, who's going to know how to use his wide receiver one.
I don't know. I have a little RTSD. That's Raiders Traumatic Stress Syndrome. And I've watched as the coaching carousel moves and hope springs eternal. Oh, Josh McDaniels, he's going to help out. Oh, Luke Getsy, he's going to don't count on too much them making a good hire next year.
Yeah, but name the time that the Raiders had offensive cornerstone pieces that would actually attract a head coach.
It hasn't happened in about 7 years, but other than that,
so you got coaches who are going to have a chance to go play with Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas, and they're going to get someone good.
I'm lining up. All right.
Are you?
Yeah. I would love to take over in Jacksonville. As Schultzy alluded to, the ideas of, and I talk about every week, the idea of stock up, stock down is kind of fluid. Sometimes I tend to think of stock up as somebody whose value has risen and it's time to get out from underneath them. Sometimes I think of it literally as stock up, go grab as many shares of this guy as you possibly can. And then stock down, obviously, is his value is down, time to buy. So these two guys, I am saying to go buy. My stock up is Desmond Ridder. Here's the thing. Desmond Ridder is not a good quarterback. But as we have seen from Bonix and Justin Fields and Will Levis to a certain extent and myriad other quarterbacks in the NFL, sometimes, whether they're good or not, doesn't really matter in fantasy. And Desmond Ridder, if there's anything we know about him, it's that he does have rushing upside. On top of the fact that he's got the tight end one in that offense, he's got Scott Turner, the brilliant mind of Scott Turner, calling the plays from here on out for the rest of the season. So go ahead and accrue as much of them as you can. And here's why. Because as soon as he starts and he takes over that quarterback position in Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Ridders, his value is only going to go higher and higher and higher. And then you're going to be able to offload him because next year the Raiders are bringing in Shedeur Sanders. And I heard a rumor today that Deion Sanders is going to be their head coach next year. So Desmond Ridder is going to be on his way out. You're going to want to maximize his value as you can. And I'm just kidding. Desmond Ridder sucks. he sucks so bad. He's going to be terrible. And I'm just
thrilled that we got there.
Yeah,
Thrilled that we got there. All right.
His stock is up though. As far as stock down, we let's look at the Houston Texans. We know that Nico Collins, the wide receiver one, the alpha in that Houston Texans wide receiver room, is a fun fact. Mike, did you know that the Kansas City Chiefs were once the Houston Texans? Anyway, Nico Collins is back. Tank Dell goes back to his regularly scheduled program. We said couple weeks ago, Tank Dell needed his opportunity to show that he could handle the wide receiver one spotlight, and he absolutely did that, which means that because his value drops with his targets dropping because Nico's back, go get him. Time to get him.
Giddy up. Chev, do you have something lined up here? Do you have stock
absolutely.
up?
Yeah, I was ready. I've been waiting. I was born ready. All right.
Let it rip,
Drop
man.
some legendary ball knowledge on you boys. So my stock up is Cedric Tillman. Okay. I got lost in the pre-draft process, throughout the draft, how big, strong, fast this guy is. You saw him flash in the preseason, hey, but I mean, unfortunately, every single highlight was him wide open down the field and just standing there waiting on the ball, all right, it's gonna get here. And then he catches it and he runs in for a touchdown. He is a quintessential, perfect young X receiver. You're seeing him, what he's doing with the volume. I would go grab him right now because he's auditioning basically to be either the 1 or the 1B in this offense next year. Right now, I think the 33rd team has them mocked to take Ted McMillan because they can't contractually get away from Deshaun Watson yet, which I don't know how that's going to work out. Hopefully, he's just permanent IR and they do something, work something out to where Jameis is the quarterback and we can get some just bomb 30 for 30 action on. But yeah, mine is Cedric Tillman. I loved what I've seen from him. I believed that he was capable of this, but for some reason, he was buried behind Amari Cooper, who also, once upon a time was awesome, and they paid him a bunch of money. But he's gone now, and it's his job. And, he's been the wide receiver one over the last 3 weeks. And I think that if you can go get him for cheap now, cheaper than what it's going to be, the price is only going to go up. It's only going to go up. If you have him right now, if you can get him for maybe a late second or that price is going to be close to a first by the end of the season, in my opinion. So I would go get him right now.
Cedric Tillman made Hendon Hooker draftable in the NFL.
He was a yards per route run monster at Tennessee. I think he was a top 5 dude in that class.
Yeah, and he got discounted because of the fact that they run a gimmicky offense where everything's outside the numbers, and he just he was just bullying people, and it looked like he wasn't very polished. But you can see clearly that what he was doing in college translates. Big, strong, fast translates.
And if only we were live streaming, we would have Jamie Pirog in the comments jumping in on these Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun you better not go in his room with a black light after we talk nice about last night on the Cleveland Browns player, dude. Yeah, last night all over this.
Last night on the Raiders show, he offered to trade Deshaun Watson to the Raiders, and I was like, I'm not even putting that comment up. And but shout out to Jamie. He is a hardcore follower and love him.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
All right, who's your stock down?
Sam Laporta. Yeah, this has been all of my fears actualized for Sam Laporta. Yes, it was a historic rookie season. He got 120 targets. He scored 10 touchdowns. All it had to do was just correct itself a little bit from a touchdown perspective. And you're looking at tight end 7 or tight end 8, which is phenomenal for a rookie. Exceeds expectations. It's fantastic. But to be a third round redraft pick, and then people paying first for him, like in, like even in tight end premium leagues, he was ungettable in the offseason. Yep. I mean, just pretty much he was the Dynasty tight end 1. And now, like, Dan Campbell warned us, like, hey, we're more concerned about winning. So, like, what Sam did was awesome, but we're going to just spread the ball around. And so if he's not locked for 120 targets, like, his volume's gone down. Amon-Ra St. Brown's volume's gone down. Fortunately for Amon-Ra, he scored 6 straight touchdowns, but that hasn't happened for Sam Laporta. Like, I made him my daggum start of the week last week. It's just not going to happen. He's going to be like a cog in the offense as opposed to the engine of the offense. And I think that, I got out in one Dynasty league. I sent him and a third for Brock Bowers after one of his good games.
Woo!
Thank God. I felt so much better about it. So, yeah, I'm all the way out. I would be trying to wait for him to have a decent game and then sell because he's a 23 or 20, however old he is, 23 years old, young tight end. And people are going to just be beholden to what he did as a rookie and think that that's coming back. So, yeah, for me, it's Sam Laporta. That's pretty easy. I'm trying to get out as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
That's Kyle Pitts all over again.
Yeah. Hey, bigz, remember we talked about Sam Laporta in this offseason too? Like,
yeah,
we beated the drum on that. We were just like, it just, that touchdown regression was bound to happen. Like 10 touchdowns in your rookie season is like unheard of. And when does a tight end do that regularly? It's not often. And with, Jameson Williams obviously coming in, and then just how prolific that running game has been, and they're just going to beat the ball down. They got great special teams, and their defense is playing lights out. They don't their defense is scoring more points than some offenses in the league right now, and they don't need their offense to be great. They don't need Jared Goff to throw for 4 touchdowns, but they have that opportunity if they get into a shootout, but their defense and their special teams aren't putting them in that position to even be in that range. So Sam Laporta is a huge sell.
This is the offense too that continues to make like Khalif Raymond and Josh Reynolds, dudes like that, like continue to make those guys somewhat relevant.
Well, will even steal a touchdown away from Laporta.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, there's a million dudes who just consistently pop up here.
But how good are the Lions though? They're a great team.
It's the best offense in football, and it's not close.
I do want to take a real quick victory lap here. During the preseason, during draft season, we on the Player Profiler news desk were afforded the opportunity to go ahead and get involved in some head-to-head columns, and I was picked for Ladd McConkey versus Deontay Johnson and Travis Kelce versus Sam Laporta, and I said draft Travis Kelce over Sam Laporta and draft Ladd McConkey over Deontay Johnson. And so far, we're 9 weeks into the season. We're halfway there. We're a little bit further than half in fantasy, and I'm right. So, there you go.
That's wild because Kelsey's been like good, but he hasn't even been as good as we thought he would be.
Nope.
And he's still like outpacing
tight end 5. And all he needs is another second half like he had last year, and he's right back in the top 1-2 mix. And then Ladd, top 24 already, and he hasn't even gotten started yet. So
yeah, the thing about Kelce is like I don't think the Chiefs are going to need to ride him to the bone now with Hops there. Like he is like just emerged, and he's creating the space that they need, and they're 8-0. So in reality, who is going to be, challenging them at this stage for home field advantage throughout the playoffs? So they lose what?
They still got to play the Raiders again.
I know. That's my biggest worry. Honestly, they play the Bills. That's going to be a tough game. I think that's going to be the game where they could lose, but I think they want that 16-0. And it's a tough defense to play against. It's a tough defense to run against. They minimize things. And now that Mahomes has got a guy that is like look at what Hopkins did last week against a good defense. The Bucs aren't great, but where he placed the ball, Hopkins made every single catch. every single
Yeah.
catch, that in the triple coverage while Mahomes was scrambling out of the pocket in that play. Like, that is the connection that 2 games in can be build. It brought tears to Hopkins' eyes at the end of the game. Like, this is something that could be very, very good in the stretch here. And
Yeah,
bigz,
it's a
we
Hall
were
of
on.
Fame.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a Hall of Fame talent to a Hall of Fame talent, and he's never had that. Like, I mean, young Deshaun Watson was as close as he got, and that you saw what he was capable of. And I mean, he flashed in Tennessee with like the Mayo mongrel just chucking the ball all over the place. Like I just, this is, people that thought that this meant nothing were absolutely insane. Like, this is exactly what they needed. He can win any way that you want him to win. So yeah, this is going to work. The only problem is you have to find a good dance partner for the Chiefs for them to unlock their full potential. Baker had it. Baker did that's what you need from a team to see the Chiefs fully unlocked. But how many more games of that do they have on their schedule? Buffalo, you mentioned. They've got, I mean, maybe the Broncos challenge them in some way.
Chargers, the Chargers look pretty good right now defensively. I think that might be a battle, and Herbert's looking good outside the pocket too. Like, I mean, Justin Herbert, if there's a team that could really surprise right now, is the Chargers. They got a good defense, they got a good offensive line, and Justin Herbert's ankle does not look like it's hindering him at all. And Ladd McConkey looks freaking amazing. Honestly, if there's a team that could surprise in the AFC, I'm telling you, it's the Chargers that could be doing it right now.
All I know is that if I'm an NFC contender, if I'm the Eagles, the Lions, the Vikings, maybe even Tampa Bay, I'm signing David Tyree right now. Because I want him playing against the 16-0 Chiefs in the Super Bowl. All right, Mike, who's your stock up?
You're signing Mario Manningham with them too.
Yeah, there you go. And Eli Manning as the offensive coordinator, and then we're good.
Now they're destined to be doomed.
Yeah. And this one is thanks to bigz. My stock up is Darnell Mooney, and he's just been so good in the last stretch, even with Drake London emerging and Kyle Pitts having his boom games. Darnell Mooney has been the guy that, Kirk Cousins has relied on time after again, especially in close games, high-scoring games. Mooney is the boom guy, and bigz called him in the preseason as a top 24 guy. bigz, good on you, man, because he helped me make a lot of roster decisions very, very good. And looking ahead, Mooney could only continue to, capitalize on favorable matchups looking ahead, because now they've had that chemistry with Kirk Cousins. Mooney's role as the top target in this offense is even more appealing now. London banged up. It's just causing a lot of optimism here. A dynasty manager should note that Mooney is still young and entering his prime, and given his increased involvement in the Falcons offense, I think he's a prime stock up even after, Kirk Cousins is out of the picture here. Mooney could be there for a longer term, and I just love this situation. So bigz, tell me how much you love Darnell Mooney more.
Love him. If this is the show where I'm taking all my flowers, I love the call. I had that one sniffed out real early, and he's benefited me greatly. And I mean, you take a guy who has the history of being a top 24 wide receiver, and he's got a quarterback who has a history of sustaining 2 top 24 guys. I mean, it was just a matter of, putting the pieces together, and that's what he's done.
Yeah. All right. My stock down is inevitably it's Jaylen Waddle, and his situation here. But this could be a prime situation for us to buy him. But at this stage of his career, for me, he hasn't shown anything outside of being injured a lot, right? I mean, if he were to be able to sustain a full season in the NFL, he would have done it by now. Right. And he's got the metrics, he's got all those things going for him. But at this stage in that offense, he's behind Tyreek Hill as a passing option. He's behind Devon Achane as the number 2. And then, 30 to 50% of the games, he's behind Jonnu Smith as the fourth option in that offense. So it's tough sledding for Jaylen Waddle. And if you can make a move right now, just based off his name recognition, it might be a situation where you could be a buyer or a seller. There's so much variables with Jaylen Waddle, but inevitably his stock is definitely on the way down, considering his draft capital and how elite his separation ability can be. And he just hasn't lived up to that expectation at this stage.
But like, what would you accept to unload Jaylen Waddle right now?
Like in redraft or dynasty? Well, dynasty.
Dynasty.
Yeah. Jaylen Waddle.
Redraft, you can't get anything.
Give me some names and I'll tell you.
In Dynasty, would you send him for for Ladd? Would you send him for Darnell Mooney?
Yeah, all of those guys, yeah, for sure.
Would you let's see here. Jameson Williams.
No, not quite that stage yet. I'm worried about Waddle because of the quarterback situation too. Outside of Tua, he signed that contract. He's, we don't know about his concussion situation either. Like Jameson Williams. Yeah, I would definitely probably take Waddle there based off of just the situation in the Lions offense, right? We talked about it on the show already. They're run heavy. Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown hasn't been as prolific as many of us thought he was going to be. Like I had him pegged as my wide receiver one headed into this season, and he's putting up top 10 numbers, but he's not there yet. He's not at that stage. So
that's fair.
Yeah, that whole offense there's too many mouths to feed, and with the defense playing as good as they are, they're not in the shootouts that they were last year. Their defense gave up a lot of points last year, and they're not doing it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's gone for Terry McLaurin in a second. I'd do that in a heartbeat. I would get out from under him. He's gone for a 25 first straight up. I'd do that.
Yeah,
if you can get a first.
If I can get any kind of first
for him,
goodness, yes,
Jaden Reed and Jameis Winston, like,
yes,
he is way more valued in like the collective consciousness than he is in real life production. So it's time to get rid of him.
Mind.
Would you? Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Obviously, George Pickens. That's easy for me. Rashee Rice.
Oh, Rashee Rice is a top 10, even with the suspension for me. I think he's a top 10.
Suspension, injury, still. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
The usage
is
absurd.
I mean, he's young and he's connected to Patrick Mahomes, who definitely can sustain a top wide receiver for sure. And Kelsey is definitely
that. He's not that good.
I think because of Waddle's perceived value at this point, if I can make a trade with Rashee Rice plus, I feel like I can turn that plus into something that I think is more valuable than Waddle and get Rashee Rice on top of it.
There's no way. I mean, Rashee Rice, even before that injury went down, he's a top 10 dynasty wide receiver with the way he was playing.
We're getting far enough away from it to where it doesn't, people aren't feeling
it anymore. Well, it's actually with the Hopkins.
Right. And you have a contender you have a contender that wants to, sneak into the playoffs or wants to add to his team for a playoff run. And he's looking at Rashee Rice on injured reserve. That's not helping him. So he's going to take a piece. And if that piece is Waddle and he has a positive idea of Waddle's value, then go ahead and make that move. Yeah, if you're a contender, obviously you don't necessarily need to do that, but yeah.
All right.
Last one. Keon Coleman.
Ooh.
That's not on the show sheet.
I just straight up, would you take Keon Coleman in a 26 second for Jaylen Waddle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would at this
when you
stage.
add the pick, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not like a huge Coleman guy, but I think with the second, I think I'd probably go for it.
I see him connected with, Josh Allen, the upside there. He surprised me so far this year, and I was really low on Keon Coleman this offseason. So, like, the fact that he's already, like, proven me wrong at this stage,
Tanner Hudson last night right now.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge buyer in of George Pickens, and Biggs and I had a lot of arguments last year about it, and I've come around a lot to George Pickens. So I familiarize myself with, guys that aren't within my profile that I like and can be, very good. And I think Keon Coleman can be that. We connected to Josh Allen, and if he can be that guy in the space that Josh Allen needs, especially in the red zone, God, there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like in a zone with some of the things that I'm saying because I called Tanner Hudson. Good Lord.
Did you really?
I did. I did in the Thursday night tailgate on Player Profiler tonight. All right. Let's move on to our studs and duds from last week. Schultzy, you and I hive-minded it. Who you got?
All right, man. If you tuned in last week, I laid some poetic words out there about Patrick Mahomes. It went a little something like Patrick Mahomes good, Bucs defense bad. Patrick throw ball a lot, score many points.
Word for word.
It was good.
Yeah.
He, I believe he had 3 touchdowns and almost 300 yards.
Yep.
So yeah, Pat was good, man. And
that was a very good night.
I said to sit Javonte. He went against the Ravens, who have been stuffing people on the ground. It was an okay start for Javonte fantasy-wise, only because he had some chunks through the air to get you up to like 8 points. So, like, it wasn't a total dud of a day, but it wasn't good.
No, he wasn't a top 24
right
running back, which you were banking on, right? I mean, yeah he was definitely a sit. Biggs, how did you do?
Hang on, I need to find it because in the show notes.
I know mine.
I just wrote wait a minute. What? Okay, I know who it was. All right. I said start Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith went out, and last week he was wide receiver 14, 18.7 points. It was his third best finish of the year. And then I said, sit this dude, Jamar Chase. And what did he do? 7 catches for 34 yards against the Raiders defensive backs. I called it. He was wide receiver 34. Boom. Nailed both of them.
Yeah, and I completely nailed mine as well because I called Jacoby Myers as my start, and he went for 8 for over 100 yards in a game that it was great for Jacoby Myers owners.
Can you imagine we said sit Jamar Chase, start Jacoby Myers on this show last week, and we were right?
Yeah. And then I told people to sit Bucky Irving against the Chiefs defense, and I did well. I did very well.
I'm feeling really good right now. Everything is coming up big.
All right, Chev, you're welcome to the foursome here. So now you got to continue our streak. So let's get started and sitted with you.
Well, my start of the week is we just dropped it'll drop later on. Well, I think I dropped Saturday. I got it scheduled to drop Saturday morning, but my start of the week at running back is Tyrone Tracy.
I have him on my other show. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy, the Panthers are giving up like 4.6 yards a carry, and they've given up 15 scores to running backs like on the ground and through the air this year, and like 40 receptions. Tyrone Tracy's just getting started. The Panthers, like Biggs has heard me say this a million times, they're a USFL defense. Like they don't have any pieces on defense that could think about stopping anybody. So yeah, I looked and I was like, wait a minute. Tyrone Tracy's had like 40 opportunities in the last 2 weeks, and he gets the Panthers. This is wheels up for me.
This is one of those perfect storm ones. Like, yeah, I had the exact thought when you were talking about the defense being that bad. It was he's ramping up at the perfect time, and then he gets this matchup. It's like, yeah, perfect storm shit right here, man.
Yeah, like this could be this. So at first, I thought this was going to be like a horrible game, but that defense is bad enough, and Bryce Young has shown a flash of being Bama Bryce enough to where maybe they could score a little bit, maybe.
I mean, Carolina is undefeated in the last 6 days, so
you see when you positive outlook.
This is a show where we don't.
They have not lost a game today.
Right.
Also true. Where's the lie?
Who's your sit, Chev?
Joe Mixon.
Interesting.
Yeah, Joe Mixon. It is. Oh, I am a huge Joe Mixon guy. Have been, will be forever, and remains. But I think that the Lions are on a heater right now, and the Texans' offensive line has been so bad. He found the end zone, and he was really, really good against the Jets. The Jets are terrible against the run. The Lions are not. At one point, they were giving up like 2.6 yards a carry. I think I mentioned that the week that they got lit up by Kenneth Walker on that Monday Night Football game. But since then, I mean, they've been pretty good. Josh Jacobs had a good game. They just picked up Zadarius Smith. I think that Joe Mixon is going to – I mean, he's been an RB1 in every single game that he's completed, like played start to finish. But this week, I think they're gonna have to go to the air if they want to try to score points. And I think Joe Mixon's probably going to finish outside of the top 24 this week if he doesn't get it. I mean, if he falls in the end zone, yeah, all bets are off. But he's going to get the volume, but it might be more like low-end RB2 between like 24 and 30.
All right. That's good. That's good knowledge.
That's a bold prediction, and I like your analysis on that one. So I'm going to be tempering my expectations for Joe Mixon this week. Absolutely. Okay, Schultzy, get in.
Speaking of get in, you better get Sam Darnold in. Good Lord, this Jaguars defense sucks. And I learned last night, yesterday's show, that bigz said the Jags are number one again in giving up points to quarterbacks. They've been kind of trading with the Bucks and back on top, baby. So fire up Sam Darnold. Kevin O'Connell's a wizard. And Justin Jefferson and stuff. It's not going to be good.
Hawk.
Well, it is going to be good. It's not going to be good for me because I'm a Jags fan, but it's going to be good for Sam.
Oh, no.
Hawk is back.
Oh man, yeah. So did you see they asked Doug Peterson about if he thought Sam Darnold turned it around?
Idiot.
Yeah. He's acting like
such a disrespectful statement.
He's acting like a president that's won 2 terms and is on his way out. So he's just like, I say whatever I want.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm about to get fired. I'm done here. We can just I'm done. I say whatever I want. Like this is wild behavior, man.
I couldn't even imagine being the media in the room when they asked the question. Hey, what do you think has been one of the big parts of Sam Darnold's turnaround? Justin Jefferson.
He's like, listen, we're all thinking it. We all know it. Like we all know it. I mean, he's quite literally the most prolific receiver. Like at every single point, at any point in the history of the NFL. So it's like, yeah, that probably has something to do with it. I mean, I would love to see him do that with Jordan Addison.
Right. So fire up Sam Darnold because he's in luck. He gets to play with Justin Jefferson this week.
there you go. Who's your sit?
I'm going Justin Herbert this week. The Chargers offense has been looking real solid lately, and Herbert's been playing well. But they get the Titans, who are actually good in the air after they added L'Jarius Sneed this offseason. But who knows if it's like Titans are actually good at defending the pass or if it's like everybody just runs on them because they're just winning. Regardless.
Hey,
man.
I have a secret.
What?
I know something that you guys don't know.
What?
We have a Tennessee Titans fan in this group.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
And
Let's
also,
go.
guess who's number one against fantasy wide receivers?
Yeah.
Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, Mason,
Ooh.
my son, is a big fan of the Tennessee Titans defense, and he's got a sit against them this week. So, yeah, he's all over that.
Well, Chev, you got Mason.
Let's go. So, yeah, I'm sitting Justin Herbert this week because I think this is going to be a game they win fairly easily and kind of run this one out. And that, I mean, let's be real. The Jim or whatever
John.
Harbaugh's over there, they're not trying to score 45 on you and pass it all night. So, yeah, I just don't think Justin Herbert's in for a big fantasy day.
So he's khakis, right? The one in California khakis. That's how I remember it.
Yeah, California khakis.
I love it.
Yeah, Mason called Ladd McConkey as a sit this week, and I was like,
all right, Mason, let's go. Same page,
Mason,
bro.
It makes some fucking sense, this kid. Fucking 11 years old, and he's talking about Ladd McConkey sitting. I'm like, all right, he's better than
I
me.
can't.
I know.
I don't have a choice.
You just trust the data, son. It'll never betray you.
All right.
It'll never betray you.
I'm gonna get into my start and sits, and then we'll end off with bigz here. I'm gonna go with let's get into my who do I have on my show sheet here? There, Schultzy.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, I do.
Don't we have a rule that you can't take guys from your own team?
Oh man, I just this matchup isn't great against the Broncos, but I just think that DeAndre Hopkins is just a guy that has formed himself in that lineup. He's they're going to want to create that chemistry and continue to do that. And this Broncos team isn't nothing to be snuffing against, because I think they're going to be playing them pretty tight in a game that, yes, I think the Chiefs will win. But I think DeAndre Hopkins is in line for some more chemistry, and I'm going to start him this week as a wide receiver too, for sure.
There it is.
Yeah. And bigz, we talked about it on the show last week, and we were butting heads a little bit about his place in that lineup. And he had a decent game, and then he had a great game. And this Chiefs offense is not going to be needed to be prolific every game. They're not going to be in shootouts with the Bucs every week, and I totally get that. But they're going to need to win some games down the stretch, and I think Hopkins is going to be a guy that's going to earn at least 6 to 8 targets every single game, and they're going to be catchable balls, and he can catch balls that are thrown 10 feet over his head half the time. So
when Mahomes is used to fucking Stonehands McGee at wide receiver, now he finally gets a dude who can catch.
I don't know why you slandered Juju Smith-Schuster like that. But
because he's trash, dude.
He wasn't even talking about Juju Smith-Schuster. He was just saying in general.
All the receivers last year were trash. All of them. Like Justin Watson still has a job because he's Patrick Mahomes' caddy during that little the golf scramble tour they do.
I love Justin Watson. That reminded me of the time I was working at the grocery store and one of my customers left without their bag, and I told the courtesy guy, I was like, "Here, go grab this bag and take it out of the customer. He just left without it." And he was like, "Who do I look for? Who is it?" And I said, "It's a Chinese guy." And he ran out, and then he came back in. He didn't have the bag because he found the guy and gave it to him. And he walked up and he goes, "Wasn't that a little racist?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You said it's the Chinese guy." And I said, "You're the one that found him."
Exactly. I love it. All right. Well, I'm going to go with my last sit here, and that's my last player, and that's a sit, and that's bigz had him on our first show, Schultzy had him on our last show, and or maybe not Schultzy, somebody did. It was Javonte Williams. I mean, we talked about him in depth. This matchup is very tough, and I'm just not expecting a whole lot out of him against my Chiefs.
I wouldn't either. That's a tough matchup. All on top of the fact that Javonte's been not great.
Yeah.
Now he you take not good and you put them against the best run defense.
You got Ravens and Chiefs back to back.
That's tough work. That's tough work.
It's an easy call to make.
Yeah.
All right. My first start is the $3.99 Crazy Puffs from Little Caesars. I just saw a commercial for them,
I need
and
to order something soon.
I want them so bad. Like, there's
Get some Crazy Puffs, Mike.
I know that they're probably trash because it's Little Caesars, but have you ever had the pretzel pizza with the nacho cheese sauce and the pepperoni on it? It's pretty good. There's like one thing that they do good, and I think those Crazy Puffs look like they. My first start is
Probably
my
trash
start
in the best way.
My start is Aaron Jones of the Minnesota
Yes.
Vikings. We have the Vikings going up against Jacksonville. Jacksonville is about average in run defense. Looking a little deeper into the data, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at not too shabby. That's 30-29. Bottom 27 in points allowed to running backs. And the Jaguars have been really bad. I feel like Minnesota jumps out to an early lead and it just becomes the Aaron Jones show. And he has himself a good week.
Yeah, I bet you if you looked into like the last month too, that's the running backs are hammering them even harder because they're poorly coached. They're giving up. They're tackling poorly. They're just getting demolished late in games by running backs.
What's the Jaguars record right now? Are they still at 3 wins?
2-7.
There's 6 teams tied at 2-7, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we're the worst of them so far. Y'all better not.
Well, we're the worst.
Losing.
No, we're the worst.
You guys need to start winning and let us handle the losses.
I think my team has got more wins than all of yours combined.
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
math. That's how math works. Yep.
Oh God.
It's a good
feeling. That's a long distant memory for me.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever experienced that.
It was about 24 years ago.
Halfway through the year, and we're
24 years ago, we started this 5-year plan. All right. And my sit is going to be same game, Travis Etienne. If it's a great game script for Aaron Jones, it's going to be a horrible game script for Travis Etienne. The Minnesota Vikings defense is among the best. You kind of have to. They're not the Kansas City Chiefs, that's for sure. But they're fourth in points allowed to running backs in fantasy. That's not good for Etienne. Trying to work his way back, dealing with Tank Bigsby. Trevor Lawrence possibly not starting, so the defense is going to have their 8 guys in the box, ears pinned back, trying to get to Mac Jones. I wish it wasn't so. I wish I didn't take such a hard hit on all my Jaguars offensive player shares this year, but here we are.
Are we fools?
It's all Doug Peterson's fault.
Like, is Travis Etienne, was he just never good? Was he just a volume merchant? Was he just Northern Florida Rachaad White? Like,
he was the opposite. He was the guy that if he had 8 touches, he could turn 2 of them into 40-yard touchtouch runs.
I think for me personally,
change.
Yeah, no, I think he needs like a scheme change for sure. I was worried about him with the Doug Peterson thing heading into last year, and then Tank Busy wasn't, he didn't, live up the expectation that he did this year. Like I was a year behind on Etienne, and with the running back by committee that Doug Peterson likes to run, and it was his days with the Eagles. It showed that, and now they're just scrambling. I think better days are actually ahead for Etienne, even in the Jaguars if Doug Peterson isn't around.
I didn't see the problems on offensive line happening as hard as they did, and the Evan Ingram injury hurt a lot too.
He's very good on the outside. He can't run in the middle, and the Jaguars' offensive line does not make a whole lot of holes up the middle unless you can make it. You know what I mean? And Bigsby has been okay there because he's a bit bigger and he can handle that. But Etienne is just not great up the middle. He's great out on the outside.
Doug's offense just hasn't evolved. I mean, he comes from the Reed tree, and Doug's offense looks like a 2016 Chiefs offense or something. You know what I mean? It's like Reed consistently, holy crap, words, consistently evolves.
Your tongue
And
died.
Peterson
right
has just rolled the same shit out.
Right. It's it's been like watching these veteran minds who just keep getting recycled in the NFL and not giving fresh young thinkers a shot. And then we see what the fresh young thinkers like Mike McDaniel does, and Bo Hardigree, and watch out, he's coming. And these guys, like they innovate, and
oh gosh,
They're not stuck in their ways.
Yeah,
that's so frustrating. It sucks because like I have been super out on ETN, and I was eating a bunch of crow last year, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna evolve as a player and take a chance on a guy that just could be good that I don't believe in, and now it tastes like shit.
Yeah.
Hey, there is another. Trevor's coming next year.
Oh, guys, hour in, that didn't feel like any time. Chev, like wicked time.
Told
man.
you.
You're back. You're back.
Chev is a time suck.
I apologize. For everybody having a great time.
Yeah, man. My only beef is that you got a bunch of cats on your wall, but once we get you a dog, things will be a lot better.
He wasn't on. He didn't. Yeah, you didn't hear
the woof. Okay, as long as you got a dog in the house, we're all good.
Yeah. Well, no, the dog grabbed my kids by the hair and dragged them by the bat in the backyard, so it's no longer with us.
All
That's
right.
funny. Unless it's real, and then it's
no. I mean that 1000% happened, and the dog's not with us anymore. So,
God.
Get a dog. They said it'll be fun. They said. I look at my backyard, and my 6-year-old is just being dragged by her hair across the yard, and I'm like, shit. All right.
Well, that was an awesome show. This is The Pulse on the Undroppables Network, on the Fantasy Plus Network, and shit, dog. bigz. I don't do this shit. This is you, man. I can't end your show.
Like and subscribe. We are on Fantasy Football Plus and the Undroppables Network. Watch all of our shows on the Undroppables. Schultzy's got the Jaguars uncovered. I got the Raiders uncovered. Mike's got the Chiefs uncovered.
Hey, Chev,
we don't have anybody doing the Titans. Just saying. That's a conversation that Chev and I need to have, seeing as how the Titans are an AFC team. And we can have that conversation tomorrow or today, a little bit later this afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific, when you all are watching Player Profiler today with me and Chev. Does
that mean technically you'll have the conversation today?
Yes, we will have the conversation.
We'll have
today.
It later tonight. Today.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
He's got it already.
I think did I get it right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And it was good timing too, because looks like Jamar Chase was going off last night right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like and subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Follow us on Twitter and stuff. You can find us. Just put in our names, and we hope you win.
Hope you win.
Hope you win.
Good luck, boys.